or not,
She said
and I
that the
qualify.
calendar looked
It's
like
one of
she-
those.
All good? Oh, yeah, okay. All right, guys, I think the camera's on, so this will be the regular call meeting of the Manchester Planning Commission. I see that we have a quorum present. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from January 21st. So everybody had a chance to review those. They were sent out ahead of time. Yes.
Make a
Great.
motion to approve.
Okay, we got a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, get your pick clear. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, since you're the new duly elected secretary.
Change my seat now.
Yeah, that's right. All right, next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda, which everyone has in front of you, which was sent out ahead of the meeting. Are there any changes? Does anybody have any requested changes to the agenda? If not, we need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, agenda's approved. All right, next item on the agenda is comments from citizens. So if there's anybody here that wishes to address the Planning Commission regarding an item on the agenda, I'll let you come up and speak one at a time. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak. If you're here for a public hearing, we'll also allow the opportunity at the public hearing for people to speak. If it's somebody that you're here for a specific agenda item and you're the person that's on the agenda, you can wait till your item is called to speak. But otherwise, this is the time for anybody else from the public that has a comment on an agenda item to speak. Is there anybody? Yes? Okay. Ms. Jones?
Yes, I'm Dal Langford Jones, and since you're giving me 2 shots at addressing this group, I'm going to take the first one and make good of it, as well as the next one to address an item on the agenda.
Okay.
Have been a member of our community since 1952, and it has been a wonderful place for me to live, grow up, and raise a family here. But in the last several years, I, like everybody that lives in Coffee County, both Manchester, Tullahoma, and in the rural area, have observed a humongous change to our complexion here. And I think that it's time that it's probably past time that we got concerned about what's going on in all of our locations here. And a lot of the things that have happened are because of looking to plan for our growth and that sort of thing. But in my estimation, you have to plan taking into consideration everything and everybody with regards to all of your services. Not to say that you all are not, but I believe that as people of the Planning Commission, you should look out for the people of Coffee County, the residents of Manchester and Tullahoma, when compared to these developers and whatnot that come in. And I appreciate your work that you do, and I know you all live here too, and I appreciate that, and I would thank you very much when you take into consideration as you're doing these kinds of action, what it's doing to the locals like myself that have been raised in these neighborhoods. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Anybody else? Okay. If not, we'll move on to the regular business on the agenda. The first item is a preliminary and final plat, 2 lots at 812 Lynchburg Road for Glenn Chapman, currently zoned R4. Mr. Northcutt, see you standing up?
Good evening. I'll just stand here.
Sure, be fine.
Yeah, so just to give you all a little familiarity here. Step behind you, Brittany. So this kind of right next door would be the old nursing home that's on the corner of Powers Bridge and Lynchburg Road. it may be Taylor right there, I'm not sure, but like right there at the intersection of Powers Bridge, that nursing home sits right here, you know, the water tank is kind of just down here on the Westwood property. So this is right there at that intersection of Taylor, Powers Bridge, and Lynchburg. Mr. Chapman purchased this property and, you know, it was his desire to divide it. And so that's what we've done, and we've worked with Mr. Carter and addressed punch list items, and think we've got everything taken care of, and we're seeking approval.
Okay. Brittany, have you had a chance to review? What?
Yes, our only punch list items include to coordinate with Manchester Water Sewer on available sewer capacity to serve the site, and then to remove the shed and garage on Lot 2 prior to recording of the final plat.
Okay, otherwise meets all of the subdivision regulations and everything for an R4 zone, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Brittany or for Nick or
How do you access Lot 2?
It's got a 30-foot strip that flares out to a 50 at the road. But since there is an existing drive, now there's a circle drive that ties in with this drive that goes to the nursing home, that part will go away. Since there's an existing drive, you know, this strip of land will be, you know, how Lot 2 is accessed, but we've also put a 30-foot ingress, egress, and utility easement over this portion of it. And so he'll probably just use the same driveway for both residences that he builds there. And that, to your comment on the garage and shed, it is his intention to wipe the slate clean and
I thought so, too.
put some, something new there, so.
I thought we were gonna quit doing that, make it 50 foot all the way.
We made that attempt, but the Board of Mayor and Aldermen voted it down.
Yeah, that makes it hard for the course.
so as it is, it meets the
Yes.
requirement. Okay, any other questions, comments?
Would it meet the requirements if it had a 50-foot all the way?
No, you'd never be able to get it.
Well, they're both pretty close to the 10,000 square foot minimum, so it might not meet it. Like you would have to slide this line back and that one out. I'm not sure the answer to that.
The current house on Lot 1 would never meet the setback requirements.
Is that their side setback? The property line to the south, or is that their front setback?
Well, the front would be
Oh,
along this
it's
side.
over there, okay. Okay,
And that would be a side.
okay. And it's at least, what, 15 feet or 10 feet? Or
What is it, 10 feet? That's an R.
For R4, it's a 5-foot side setback.
And what actually is it?
It'd be 5 foot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they could never slide it over. They could never make it 50.
Hey Brittany, can you put that back on the agenda? The 30 foot, the 50 foot?
I think that an alderman would need to bring it back up
Okay,
at a board meeting, perhaps.
all right.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? If not, staff's recommending approval is subject to the punch list.
Approve it, subject to the punch list.
Okay, got a motion, is there a second?
I second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve, subject to the punch list. Is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Thank you all.
thank you, Mr. Northcutt. All right, item number 2 is a site plan, 1660 Hillsborough Highway for Rakesh Patel at Bigfoot Market in the C3 zone. Anybody here on that one? If not, Brittany, I guess you want to walk us through that?
So this is a proposed site plan for the removal, replacement, reorientation of some gas pumps and the canopy at this gas station. They are adding an underground gas storage tank and replacing one rather, removing the existing canopy and adding a newer one and repositioning it. We recommend a deferral due to the punch list items not being addressed and the site plan not being resubmitted. So the punch list includes to provide a site plan in accordance with our requirements, to list adjacent parcels and their zonings, to provide ADA access from the pumps to the building entrance, drainage report, grading plan, and erosion control plan. So if you all would.
So you're looking for this board to defer it, and there's no, if we do that, there's no risk of it being automatically approved or anything if no action's taken?
Correct, it's
Okay.
a site plan, not a plat.
Correct, okay. Just
Do they-
making sure.
Do they have to coordinate with the state as far as underground storage tanks?
They likely will.
Okay.
So you're looking to defer it just 1 month or
Yes,
till
then
when?
that'll give them the opportunity to address the punch list items.
I'll
Okay.
make that motion.
All right, so we've got a motion to defer it to the March meeting. Is there,
Second.
all right, which has been seconded. Is there any other discussion?
On their fee, is that something that's held over?
The fee, is that what you said? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't require them to.
Pay it again.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that'll be on next month's agenda. All right, item number 3 is site plan at 1513 MacArthur Street for Trinity Baptist Church, zoned C3. Anybody here on that one?
I'm here
on behalf of
Yes, Mr. Castile? Yes, sir. Tell us what you're all planning here, and then we can get Brittany.
The
Everybody
section you
comment.
see in the middle with all the wording on it, that's an addition that we're trying to add. We're adding about 15 classrooms right there. And I know that Kenny Sadler, our civil engineers, worked with Adam Carter on this process, and we are hoping to break ground this spring. Folks have been working on this 10 years, but we are out of space as far as educational spaces. We're using all of our office space, every nook and cranny we've got. On the side, there's 2 homes, there's 2 houses, and we've turned one of those into classrooms and having to look for the second one for classrooms. But in a nutshell, that's where we're at. We're seeking your approval tonight with the codes that you have to deal with.
Okay, thank you. Brittany, it looks like you all have, I don't see any punch list items.
That's correct. They addressed all of the staff review punch list items, so we recommend approval.
Okay, you concur too?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good.
So Brittany, the additional square footage has no impact on parking, right? Because it's,
They have the parking to still
They-
accommodate.
they have, it, okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, we've got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Johnson seconds. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Good work. Thank you. Appreciate you coming up. All right, item number 4 is site plan at 861 MacArthur Street for Citizens Tri-County Bank for an ATM in a C3 zone. Yes, sir.
Steve Carroll, with the bank pack, on behalf of the bank and Citizen Tri-County Bank. And we're proposing to put an ATM on an existing parking lot here on the corner of MacArthur and this side street here, Lowry. Right here where this ATM is, existing paved parking lot. All we'll be doing is adding a 6 to 12 concrete pad, doing away with these parking spaces, just blocking those off. And the next thing up here is the intersection.
Is it just a straight up ATM, or is it what, is it ITM, or is it,
Just an ATM, which is pretty much just an ATM with some different.
video? Yeah.
Is that the old people's thing?
What now?
Is that the old people's
The
thing?
old exit office, old
Actually,
exit real
Citizen
estate.
Tri-County
is leasing this front part of this building right here.
Uh-huh.
They've got a 2-year lease on that.
From Eric Neal, the old bread store.
Yeah, I used to work there.
Yeah, how about that?
I know what
There
you're
you
talking
go.
about now, yeah. Yeah.
All right, Brittany, I see you've got a comment here about deferring. What's the,
Yeah, so I'm gonna
want to
let,
address?
I'm gonna let Adam kind of
Okay.
discuss our punch list items on this one.
All right, Adam, tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so there's, I guess even though it's a small footprint of the actual ATM that's going in, it pretty much completely changes the site traffic pattern on the site and the entrance and exit from the site. So there's quite a bit of things in the parking lot that need to be addressed as far as traffic flow. So for y'all to be able to have a complete picture and see it on paper and understand what's really happening with the site and the ingress, egress of it, we were recommending deferral until next month, until those can be addressed.
Can you tell me what's wrong with the traffic flow? Because this is the first we've heard about this. We answered all the questions. So we did have to apply to the state as well, because one of your items on the punch list, state said a permit wasn't required, and we have a letter from them stating that they don't have an issue with this. Other than the stop bar up here, which is basically just putting a white stripe on the front of that. And these are existing driveways as well. All these spaces are there. The only difference would be these 3 spaces here would not be available.
So we did receive the email that you sent us that has the letter from TDOT, so that excludes you from the TDOT requirement. But it looks like the entire site is being changed to show one-way traffic with the entrance from Lowry and the exit at the signalized intersection.
Yeah, well, the traffic's
So-
gonna be whatever they do, as far as people coming in. They'll be able to use either one of these, actually. That was just shown on the site plan, but there's enough room there, I believe, for 2-way traffic. This is
Well-
just showing what we would think that people would do. We don't have any control over what they do when they pull up to the ATM.
Right, so I guess that's what we need to establish, is some control over site traffic, because like if a car is parked at the ATM right there, you can see that there won't be enough room between the last parking spot and the
Yes,
person
Mayor.
that's parked, yes, sir, for another vehicle to be able to get past them.
So
So,
the landlord, all this has been approved by the landlord, but anything that we need to do as far as these spaces, he's allowed us to make those changes.
yeah, so there's that, and then whenever you remove those parking spaces out front, I think this used to be a free access through just about across the whole parking lot there.
It is,
So,
there's very little curve there.
yeah, so we probably need to put some striping in there delineating the one-way and the radius that they need to pull away from that ATM, how they're gonna get to the,
Yeah, this would all be marked, obviously. It's just not on the site plan, but this would all be, these stripes would be taken away, and this would be marked for the traffic.
so all those things is just, we need to show those things.
So why didn't this come up when I presented the plat to you?
When you presented them, so the
Plat? When we sent the plat to you?
I don't recall
This
it
is
being
the
a
first
plat.
we've heard about this traffic flow situation.
I remember seeing a picture with the ATM on it, the only comment I think we had was to
We had,
present a site plan.
Michael Moore did a full site plan, as you can see here, with the site plan. We sent a preliminary last Friday, we sent this to you Wednesday, and this is the first time I've heard about any other action items. And we originally asked for a permit on 12/30, so on December 30th of last year. I'm just asking why we're just now hearing about it. I could have had that done if I'd been told ahead of time, as far as the traffic flow problem. You're talking about
So,
deferring
we've
this
only
off.
had a week to review this submittal that we have here in front of us today. The initial submittal was an aerial picture with an ATM drawn on it.
That was back in January.
That's correct.
This plat here you had last Friday, a week ago.
Right, so submittals are due the 4th Thursday of every month. You did submit a little late, so we've only had a week to review and come up with this punch list here. So the initial submittal didn't get a full staff review as all of the other items have.
But you told me as long as I had this plat to you by actually Thursday evening, we
Right.
should be fine.
Right, and so we're here tonight, and after review, we've decided that a deferral would probably be better.
So you got the plat to them by Thursday night like they asked, because it was already on the agenda, but they only had, this is their first set of comments.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, well, this is our only set of comments, but I basically had to ask every question to get the information I got. I didn't even know I was gonna have to have a full-blown plat until last month, which we deferred in January because she didn't put it on the agenda because we didn't have the plat then.
Right.
But I never was told that this plat had to be in basically in your office by the end of January. Never was told that.
Well, it looks like this plat doesn't even have the information that they require. Is that right? You said what you were gonna do, but your plat doesn't show that.
Well, this is the first time I've been
Okay.
told that we're completely changing the traffic flow, which I don't agree with. That we're changing this to one-way traffic, which we're not. We're not changing anything. We eliminated what spots the landlord told us what he thought should be eliminated. But I hate to see this deferred another 30 days because we've already been waiting since December to even get to the meeting. And the bank has already leased the space, and he's expecting the ATM to be put in there, so. And it's basically a 6x12 pad that we're asking to put on the lot, an existing lot.
So is everything you're asking for in this?
Any quick comments?
Yeah,
In the punch list?
in the punch list?
Yes, sir, I believe so.
So everything, I mean, what you're asking him to do is here.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Which is the first time I've seen or heard of that.
So
Well, hang on one second. He's,
make me understand, okay? Why would it be any different to pass this and make it contingent on these getting done than it would any other one?
subject to the punch list and
Subject
let
to
you
the
all work
punch
it out.
list. And I don't know, y'all tell me, okay?
If y'all are okay with that, I think the thought is so that y'all have a complete understanding of what's happening there, because this site plan does not reflect that.
Right now, there's no markings all on there for one or two-way on the parking lot. And all that area's been completely redone by the state out there in the front.
Does you think that, does the bank, if the bank moves from there, because you said I know they've got a 2-year lease,
Right.
and I think they're looking for, from what I understand, property, although they could extend that lease there, I'm sure. If they were to move out of that building, do they intend to leave that ATM, or do you think they'll take it down? And
I don't know what their plans are. I can tell you more than likely if they ended up putting another branch somewhere, they'd probably relocate the ATM. Would be my understanding, but I can't speak for
Right.
them.
So let me ask a basic question. Is your concern about egress and ingress into the property? Or is it circulation once you get in the property?
Both.
Okay. Do we have any purview about what a person does on their own property?
Well,
Yeah.
when,
Think so.
Well, I mean,
Yes,
it might be a bad plan, but.
I mean, y'all have parking requirements and drive aisle requirements and all these kind of
Okay,
things for site
okay, so-
plans.
So the drive aisle requirements are compromised or not being met here? I mean,
Whenever-
there's some aspect.
Yes, whenever
of the-
you have like queuing right there, if it's gonna be I assume a ITM is like a full service ATM with a teller there where people
No.
are conducting business, is that correct?
No, there'll be no teller there. This is nothing more than an ATM sitting right
So somebody walking up to it or driving up to
there.
it?
They're driving up to it. But
Yeah,
they
I
can
know there's-
also walk to it. When I use one, I pull my truck up there and get out and go to the ATM.
So if I want to use that ATM, where do I park? I want
Park
to just,
right in front, and you can drive up to it and stay in your vehicle.
and now if there are other people in those parking spaces that need to get out, what do I do?
Well, these are gonna be closed.
Okay, what about the other
In
side?
this spot, you can back up, come around. I mean, there's room here. Because right now, there is a parking space drawn here that's not shown on this plat. There is a parking spot here already, so this space is already being used. And there's other traffic. In fact, I drove down there the other day and drove by this car sitting here, and there was no issue of getting in and out of there. So it's not two-way now, as far as that goes. But, people come and go, but the main thing is we're actually gonna close this. This is probably, part of that, the part you was talking about there, there's no curb there, but when we close this, they're gonna have to use this section up here to go out where they should have to red light.
And if I drove up to the ATM, what side am I gonna be driving up to?
Right here. You're going, just like this shows, you can come in either one of these entrances and drive up to here, and then you'll pull away.
So then number 6, or number 7, I'm not gonna pull up that way with my car on that side, and then I'm gonna have to turn around and then come back out?
No, you'll go out at intersection.
That's how number 7? Am I reading that right?
What's
So, number 7 is the western parking lot access point from Lowry Street should be designated as an exit only to avoid vehicles from queuing in Lowry Street. So if you're pulling up to the, I guess what would be the top side, the way you're looking at it, if cars come in off of the road and stop at Lowry Street and we're allowing people in right there, they may stop and wait at Lowry Street. If we close it off to an exit only, that forces them to go to the next one and leaves a bigger queuing area and gets them away from the highway.
Or you're trying to bring them down to the end.
My passenger side's gonna be against that side though.
Yeah, you're
I'm
right.
gonna have to go around and turn around.
Yeah.
If you come in from here, you will.
Which is another reason that we're doing one-way traffic.
I think he's talking about closing off that first entrance on Lowry.
Well,
Still, I'm just saying, I'd rather come off a Lowry if I'm pulling up to the driver's side.
Yeah,
That only makes
exactly.
sense. I wouldn't want that to be an exit. I'd
Well,
wanna
you
come in
you
off
have
of
another
Lowry.
one on down Lowry.
That's what he's
is I'm
saying.
You're talking about closing the first one off.
Closing the first
Closest
one.
to the road.
That way you have a distance of a line you can.
Yeah.
And we're saying there's enough room, if you had a line waiting for that ITM, ATM or whatever, could the cars that are in the parking places still get out?
It would
if
be
you're right
tight,
here-
but
if you're right here.
we also have another comment that they need a designated queuing lane to push cars over and don't let them block those cars in.
Gotcha. So, yeah, I guess I'm not comfortable with it. I don't see how this is gonna work, right?
So how many cars have y'all ever seen at ATM?
I've seen several.
30 maybe?
I've
You
said
need to
it
go
once
credit union.
sometimes.
Go credit union
20,
sometime.
30 minutes, we're not
This is
naming
the
any names or
City
anything.
Truck
but,
County.
you know.
I don't
Yeah,
care who
cars
it is.
sitting here, I mean, there could even be 2 more cars pulling this way before you even have an issue with queue, but, I mean, I don't see it being that active, number one. And then, of course, you still have this space here, and if you've got enough room to back out of these spots if there's a car here. But we can do any striping that y'all would recommend in these areas on the lanes. We don't have a problem with that.
I think we need to do that, but when we do that, I think it will impact some other parking spaces, particularly at the southwest corner of the building that we just assume y'all would probably want to see how that works, is the reason for the deferral recommendation.
You have to approve it though, right? You'd have to, even if we said, we're gonna pass it with the items in the punch list need to be done, you'd approve everything the way it's supposed to be done, right?
Yes, sir.
Just because we won't see it drawn out on a plat, it's the only thing we're missing. I mean, we
Yes,
don't.
just showing these items on there is what we're
Yeah.
missing.
Okay. Brittany, you have any other comments about that? Does anybody else have questions for
Yeah, this-
Brittany or Adam or the
I just, hate
opponent?
to see this thing wait 30 more days when I could have had that done for this plat tonight if I'd have known. And I could probably have it done by Wednesday at the latest to get back to you, so.
I have absolute faith in you, Adam. I don't
Well, thank
believe that you'd approve anything that wasn't ready. And you know a lot more about what you're doing than I do. So it would be okay with me to go ahead and pass it and just let you handle it. I don't know how everybody else feels.
Well, I'm not comfortable with it.
Okay?
I am comfortable with it. It looks like, I think you've got a lot of answers in your mind. It's not on this sheet of paper.
It's not gonna change that paper.
Well, it could,
I guarantee
because
you
the
it
I
parking-
can
will.
show you on paper, I can show you on paper.
Well, that's not why we're here tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You made your submittal. These are the comments that we have.
right.
And we don't want to reject it. We just want you to address these comments.
Yeah.
So I make a motion that we defer this till next month.
Okay, we got a motion to defer. Is there a second?
Can I ask one more question? I know we,
Well, I guess we need to see if we're gonna have a second first or not on the motion. All right, if there's no second, that motion fails for lack of a second.
So I'd make a motion that we go ahead and accept this contingent on the punch list and let Adam.
Okay, so we've got a motion to approve, subject to the punch list. Is there a second on that motion? So, if not, that motion fails for lack, will fail for lack of a second. So now we're back to.
Cheryl's got a question.
I was gonna say, Cheryl, what's your question?
so my question is about the parking and that one comment there and not knowing what that traffic flow is gonna do. And if it does take more parking spaces out, what is the requirement of that building as far as parking spaces?
Well, again, my concern would be, first of all, is that regardless of what you do out here, if you close these spots or those spots or whatever you do, you're not gonna be able to control this traffic. You can give them a suggestion by putting lines on there and hopefully they follow, but there's no rules or law against if they cross over those lines when they're driving through this parking lot. So, there is space here for a car to be sitting here. I don't think that's gonna happen very often, and these cars still can back out front. But the landlord has approved our plan here to have this done, and he's the one that's gonna have the most concern about this, because he's the one that's got people renting this building, customers coming in and out of these places, so. And he's approved exactly what we'd like to do here on his part.
And we appreciate that, and I'll say, and I'm gonna let the staff answer Ms. Swan's question, but, to you, and I'll preface this by saying, the landlord is a good friend of mine, okay, but just because he's approved it doesn't mean that it's binding on the city,
Rules or
so.
laws stating what needs to happen here other than the punch list, and then we can probably take care of the punch list if that's an issue.
My question was though, if you come in there and you satisfy them with this traffic flow thing, what if it does eliminate some more parking spaces? So my question was to them, what is the required parking spaces for this building?
Yeah.
So let's let,
If they lose 2 or 3 parking spaces.
so
is
let's
that a big-
let Brittany and Adam answer that question.
I don't know it right off the top of my head, but it's based on the square footage of the building.
Right.
And there's 2 separate uses for the building, apparently.
There's
I wasn't aware of that.
There's 2 tenants,
I didn't know that, so that could change things as well.
and it has been for quite a while as far as I know.
I think that's just a big concern that we have to worry about.
Okay, so now we're back to, I guess there's several options. One, the proponent, the bank, could request deferral to next month. This board could make a motion to defer it to next month. This board could do some, vote to, or somebody could make a motion to approve subject to the punch list, or somebody could make a motion to deny. Those are kind of the 4 options. I don't know that the bank is, that the,
Motion to defer, maybe didn't get a second.
We had a motion to also accept it,
Yeah, we
but
did.
I didn't get a second.
right.
I don't think we want to deny it. I don't think,
And I don't know if
Well,
the
what's the
bank.
result of that? They start over?
Huh?
What's the result of that? They start over?
I think they'd have to start over and they'd probably have to pay another fee and,
We don't,
which-
we don't
We
want
don't
that.
want that.
right.
Yeah, we don't.
So I wouldn't think anybody would. I think, so
We can make
then,
a motion to defer it to next month, even though that failed previously.
I think it could be brought back up.
I tell you what.
I would like to make that motion then to defer it to next month.
I was gonna say, I would withdraw my motion,
Mhm.
and if you bring your motion back up, we'll second it, and we'll go that way, because that's the way it looks like it needs to go.
Okay,
I'm withdrawing my motion.
okay. The one that didn't get a second, he's just gonna withdraw it. If we can let that. And then I'll let Mr. Johnson renew his motion.
I have to renew it, does that mean I have another fee associated with it?
No fee for you.
Trying not to have you
And I think Ms. Swan was gonna
I
second
was
it.
gonna second
Yeah,
it.
I make a motion to defer this to next month.
I'll second that.
All right, is there any other discussion?
Can I raise a question?
Not real, I mean, it's really now it's the board, but I'll let you if you have a
So
question
is there
on it.
anything else I need to do besides what's on this piece of paper?
You're gonna have to coordinate with Brittany and Adam, assuming this
So
passes.
let me
and
ask you
you-
this, if something else comes up.
Well, I'm not here to argue or to do that. We'll have to address that at next month. I think if you address that with Brittany and with Adam and they're satisfied, then I don't imagine there'd be anything else that would come up. So is there any other discussion amongst the board? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll abstain.
Okay, just show Mr. Goodwin abstained. I don't think you have to, but
You can put me
if you
down
want
as
to.
opposing if you want to. I oppose.
Okay. So 3-2. All right? So we'll see you, just coordinate with,
Can I get a copy of those? Because I haven't seen them.
did they hand you one a minute ago?
No.
I got two. I gave you a copy.
I think you put it in your folder.
I don't have a copy.
There's you. Possibly two.
There's 2 pages, see it, 2 pages?
Here's the whole packet.
There you go.
So when do you need this by?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday?
Yes, sir.
Is that the end of the
Okay.
month?
That is the March submittal deadline.
That's the deadline for next meeting.
Yes, that's the middle deadline for the planning commission month is always the 4th Thursday of the month before.
Okay, and when is that meeting?
It'll be the
March
third Monday of
17th.
March.
Third Monday of March.
Mhm.
St.
Okay.
Patrick's Day, we're all wearing green.
That's right. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, item number 5, construction plans for 132 lots Bashaw Creek Road for Howard Development in a R4 zone. Mr. Howard? Any presentation or comments? Brittany, you want to walk everybody through it? And then if there's questions for Mr. Howard, we can ask him those.
So these are the construction plans for 132 single-family lots on a semi-recently annexed portion of property on Bashaw Creek Road. This subdivision has 2 entrances off of Bashaw Creek Road. Sanitary sewer will be provided through Northridge subdivision. Water lines are also throughout the subdivision and are proposed to be served from the existing water lines in Northridge subdivision. Stormwater detention basins are provided, one of which is off-site, requiring an easement from the adjacent property. Stormwater quality measures in accordance with our ordinance are provided at each stormwater discharge point. Sidewalks are provided along both sides of the proposed roadways throughout the development. Bashaw Creek Road is a county road right-of-way in this location, and no request to annex the roadway to the development has occurred. It is adjacent to Northridge, which is contiguous to the city limits. Staff recommends approval of these construction plans subject to the punch list items of coordinating with the Manchester Water Sewer on available sanitary sewer capacity to serve the lots due to current sewer system conditions and TDEC derivatives. Upgrades to downstream sanitary sewer collection system may be required to serve this development. Another punch list item includes to coordinate with Manchester Water Sewer Department on available water system capacity to serve the development. Upgrades to the water distribution system may be required to serve this development. And there are some technical items on the drainage report that need to be addressed in cooperation with the city engineer, which could slightly change the stormwater system design coordinate with city engineer regarding these items. Aside from that, staff recommends approval of these construction plans.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for the,
Was this
Staff?
was this the one where we were looking at like right-of-way stuff
Sidewalk
and
locations.
sidewalks and
Mhm.
stuff? Whatever happened with all that? I mean,
You all amended the subdivision regulations.
okay, I remember
for the
it's,
sidewalk
okay,
placement.
and that's now,
That
this is,
made this work.
okay.
To keep everything and everybody on the board, mayor and alderman happy, we have to do the plans of service first, right?
So this is not about an annexation currently.
Okay.
it's already been annexed.
This property was annexed in 2022. It is contiguous to Northridge subdivision. This is approval of construction plans for a major subdivision.
I think you're looking at the next two items.
I could be, yeah.
You're jumping ahead.
I'm ahead.
He's getting under.
Okay, does anybody have any other questions on this? Mr. Howard, anything else to add? Okay,
So we don't know if the sewer's capacity is there. We don't know that yet.
that's why, for all of these, they've got to just coordinate, they've got to coordinate with Manchester Water and Sewer.
But looking at the plans alone, this development, those sewer plans are good as far as the
Planning
rest
commission is
downstream.
concerned.
There may be.
Right.
We had a pretty thorough discussion on this last time it was here.
Yes, we did.
And obviously, this is a very nice subdivision with a nice entrance. It has sidewalks, underground utilities, best I remember.
Yep.
And pretty good-sized lots. Is that right?
Yep, they're decent.
Yeah.
Being developed as an R2, but it's actually zoned R4.
Gotcha. And R2, refresh everybody's memory about an R2 lot size,
10,000 square feet.
10,000 square feet.
What'd you say about the road being a county road?
So Vashall Creek Road is actually a county right-of-way, roadway.
Will the city have to do anything to that?
You do not have to, because this property is contiguous to Northridge subdivision city limits.
Okay, so were you going somewhere, Mr. Johnson, with that?
No, I think, my point was that I wanted to keep it short because I think we thoroughly discussed this
Yeah,
last
so we did.
time, right? And I think we all thought this was a very nice neighborhood to be added. Obviously, this is gonna take years to develop and so forth and so on. And by that time, any shortcomings we might have in the sewer or water treatment plants will hopefully be addressed by that time. I'm not sure we have any issues on this location or not, but I don't have any comments.
Okay, I thought you were,
The director is here, so we can.
okay, was there, now, we've already passed public comment period on,
This is Jeff, he's the Manchester Water Sewer.
oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't see you over there, I got my readers on, not my distance on, so, yes, sir.
So, I mean, currently there's 267 houses roughly on that pumping station. It was designed for 215. I think that's something that needs to be looked at before you go through. Not only that, but I know it's gonna take years to develop this, but also, I mean, there needs to be updated water flow testing. And also, the pumping station, this goes into Northridge. 7-Eleven pumping station also needs to be looked at, the impact that it's gonna have on it as well.
But that wouldn't have any bearing on whether we pass this or not. This, it just means
I'm
that
just giving you my 2 cents.
Yeah, and I understand, but it just means that you get the final say-so in it. So if you have any issues or questions, you know, you can say, no, we're not gonna build any houses there until we fix this, right?
Right, that's why we have the punch list items to coordinate with him. Clearly, he has the development on his radar, which is a good thing. You all can still approve these plans for him to coordinate with at a later time.
Right, and that's what I was gonna address. I think that's included in that punch list was that to coordinate with Manchester Water and Sewer, so. Okay,
So he has the final say of, before this starts, to make sure that that sewer system is.
Yes.
Okay.
I think this is a good example to echo some of what Mr. Johnson was saying, of where people may raise concerns sometimes when a piece of property becomes zoned R4 because it allows smaller stuff, but just because it's zoned R4 does not mean that's the way it has to be developed, and that it can always be developed at a lower density than R4. So I think this is a prime example of that.
Absolutely. It's a fine example of something that's done really well.
Yep.
But obviously, nothing can be done until they get all the approvals they need.
Right.
Can I have a question?
Oh, yes, sir.
For Jeff, I mean, if there's, how many did you say were already on that system, Jeff?
Roughly 267 that's already on it,
And how many was it approved for?
215.
So there's more on it right now than was required. Is that what you're saying? Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. So staff is recommending approval of the construction plans, subject to the punch list.
I'll make a motion to approve subject to punch list items.
I second.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve, subject to the punch list, which has been seconded. Mr. Superling, is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, very good. All right, next item is public hearing on plans of service acceptance for annexation of 12.81 plus or minus acres, map 68, parcel 50.23 on Lakeview Street for IA and Marilyn Howard. So Brittany, you want to talk through that real quick, and then once the staff has made a sort of a presentation to the board to let us know what the request is.
Can I enter?
And I was going to say, and I was going to ask Mr. Howard if he has, but you can go first if you want to.
I'd like to go
Okay.
first.
Then I'll ask
There's a lot of
people.
confusion. Within the last hour, it has been brought to my attention, just what Jeff was saying about the sewer and the water capacity. And therefore, at this time, there is no need for me to annex that and pay city taxes on it. So I'd like to pull that one if I could.
Okay, you can withdraw that request.
I'd like to withdraw.
So that will eliminate items 6 and 7 on the agenda. So Grace, if you can just put down in the minutes that the developer withdrew the annexation request. So there's no need then to address the plan of services or have a public hearing on it. Okay? All right, very good. I think Mr. Howard may be running for president next year. All right, so no report from me. Adam, you have anything to report?
Not the planning commission.
Brittany, you have anything to report?
Yes, actually, we do have a vacancy for a planning commission member, so if any of you or anybody out there would like to put an application in, please be a planning commission member. Those applications are available online and outside the mayor's office.
Does this have to be one that lives in the UGB?
No, we already
This
have
could
one.
be anybody?
Could be anybody,
I'm
I
a
think
UGB.
I thought we had that too.
We got
didn't we?
two.
Oh, there's Brad. I thought Brad lived in one of those big fine
obviously
fancy
they
houses
should be
in
from
town.
the area, but it's not specific that they live in the city or the urban growth.
Okay. So, anything else? Okay, so let's see. Who's not made a motion tonight so far? Ken, did you make a motion?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
There we go.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
There we go, okay. All right, yes. All right, yeah, we've still got one more meeting, so as everybody's exiting, if you just, do us a favor and kind of stay quiet until you're outside. All right, this will be the regular call meeting of the Manchester Board of Zoning Appeals. Everyone was, see, I don't guess we had any minutes from last month, so none to approve. So we need to approve the agenda. Somebody want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Right. That's been Goodwin seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, agenda's approved. Next item is comments from citizens. So at this time in the meeting, we would open
I don't think we have any left.
for any comments from, yeah, but the recording is not gonna know that. For any people in the audience to speak to the board on items on the agenda tonight. Is there anyone who wishes to make a comment? John, not? No, okay, just asking. All right, so seeing none, no one in the gallery wishing to make a comment, we'll move into business. First item is a variance request for James and Melissa Riddle at Mill Street, map 76I, group G, parcel 20. Anybody here on that? If not, Brittany, you want to tell us what the request is, and then,
So they've requested a variance to build a single-family dwelling on a property at Mill Street. What I understand, years ago, there was a house there. However, the property is zoned R3. Minimum lot size for R3 is 7,500 square feet. Minimum lot width is 75 feet. This lot of record is not meeting those requirements. And our municipal code states that they need to obtain a variance to use the house, to use the lot to build a house. So with it being a lot of record, a variance is, would be allowed in this case.
So Brittany, go back to the little map plan thing. Are any of those properties legal?
Yes. Like this one, 7,500 square feet. This one's not quite, but there's already an existing dwelling here. So the ones with addresses already have existing dwellings there. This one doesn't have one, but it is a lot of record.
What's the
so
thing-
there was someone on the corner.
What's the thing behind it?
The one behind it.
Right there.
What, is that anything?
So it's, I mean, it's a very similar scenario. It is.
Part of another
It's got
lot.
Oh, wow.
houses here, too.
Oh, okay.
So
They fixed that, they took care of that.
Yeah. So is there anything there that's zoned R4? Because that's basically what they're asking us to do, right?
No, they're asking for a variance, not a rezoning.
It's true, but we're gonna take it down to R4 size lot.
Well, it already is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But right now,
yeah,
they can't
essentially.
build on it, yeah.
Yeah. What's the one on the corner there, Brittany, right there,
begs
that
the
one?
question. What are the setbacks?
5 foot on R4.
It's only 3,000 square feet.
Ask her, I'm not sure.
So this one will be larger than that one.
Right, but like I said, I mean, just going through the process as it states in our municipal code.
So Brittany, if the variance is approved, it stays as an R3.
Yes,
What setbacks do they use?
the R3 setbacks.
Which
Which are,
is 15 foot.
25 on the front, 10 on the sides, and 15 on the rear.
Okay,
How wide is the lot?
50-ish feet.
tight.
So, yeah, so as you read the thing, so it's,
It's doable.
when the owner.
It's doable.
Yeah, consisting of one or more adjacent lots of official record at the time of adoption. So it's basically something that predated
Right.
the zoning resolution. Does not own sufficient land to enable him to conform to the yard or other requirements. An application may be submitted to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a variance. So this would appear to be an appropriate situation for that to happen, and then it may be used provided that they have to comply as closely as possible. So I guess the question is the variance request just to be able to do a building, they're not requesting any specific setback variances or whatever, they're just requesting the variance to be able to use it as a building site,
Right.
but they would still have to comply with the,
Yes.
yeah, okay, so.
Will you put the map back up with the aerial?
That IMI.
So from what
Yeah.
I understand, at one point, somehow a concrete truck got away. I didn't know that they did that. And
Not too many survivors.
plowed,
Yeah.
plowed over a house that was here several years ago. And
Sound
so
like Deadeye.
the owners of this property currently purchased the lot at that time, due to the scenario, and demolished the remainder of the house, and it's been a vacant lot since then.
So what can they do with it like it is?
Get a
Donate it.
variance in the
Mow it,
house.
mow
I
it.
mean, that's, yeah.
Donate it as a park to Manchester.
Walk your dog out there.
So it used to have a house on it.
Right, but just the proper process is to get a variance to do that again.
So it never met any restrictions,
Correct. The law of
Never.
record.
Because it predated the restrictions.
all restrictions, not even the old versions or whatever, or the new, or whatever.
The R3 is one of the zonings that really hasn't changed very much.
Right, right.
It's gonna be a narrow house.
So I don't have a problem with it. Anybody have a problem with it?
I don't have a problem.
No, I don't either.
I feel like that was a motion.
So I think that was, did I understand that as a motion, Mr. Johnson, to approve the
Yeah,
request?
I am hungry.
Yeah.
I gotta go to Murfreesboro to eat tonight.
Yeah.
So, I make a motion that we approve the variance.
Okay,
Can
There-
you second it?
I second it.
all right, we've got a second. Is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. I'm like pulling teeth tonight. We don't have Leaf here to be the dentist, as the dentist.
It's
so.
been a tough night.
Anyway, and I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night either, to be able to.
You're not showing you that either.
Exactly. No report from me. Adam, you have anything?
No, sir.
Brittany?
No.
Okay, nothing on this one.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right, we got a motion.
Second.
Carol seconded. All in favor? Aye. There we go. Thank you very much, guys.
Camera's off.
Turn off the green light.
That's part of the night.